Hi students, it's Ms. Bauer again. Now for the read aloud for today. Today is Monday, March 23rd, and this is read aloud number 3. The title and the author and the publication of this story. The title is Alpha and Beta, the Biblioburros. The author is Paula Morrow. The publication is once again Heinemann. It is an educational publication and part of a series of books that I use for teaching kids. The reason I chose this one is because it is a story about a gentleman in Colombia who delivers books to children who need them. And part of the reason I was unable to make a video on Friday was because I packed up a lot of books and delivered them to students. So I thought this one was appropriate for us. So the first thing I want to talk about, as usual, is the genre of this book, which means the type of book that it is. Think about this sentence frame. I predict the genre is... Now, before you do make a prediction, just double check. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some pages that I looked at carefully. First of all, the first cover page looks like a photograph. I labeled this here. There's a table of contents. Oh my goodness, there were so many things on this page. Here, this is a heading. Then we have something new that I haven't talked about yet. On this page, on this green wording here, this is actually a sidebar. And I'm going to explain what a sidebar is a little bit later. On this side, we have a map. A couple of other features I want to show you before we make a decision what genre this is. Here, if you can see it, there's a pronunciation guide right here. Luis Soriano, right here, it shows you how to pronounce his name. That's called a pronunciation guide. This book also has captions. The captions look a little different in this book. And of course, the photos of real people. They're not illustrations, they are photographs. One more thing that this book has, they have bold print in some of the words. So I think hopefully by now you will be able to predict the type of story that this is. I'm going to give you a second. I predict the genre is nonfiction because of the text features. So the text features of this book, to prove that it's nonfiction, and I'm going to go in order that I had them in. First, it had a table of contents, and we know that sometimes chapter books also have a table of contents, so that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be nonfiction, but there's also headings. There's a map. Pronunciation guide is a big hint that this is nonfiction. Pronunciation guide. Captions, like we mentioned with our first story. Photographs of real things. And some bold words that show that some words are very important in this book. So these are the text features of this book that prove this is a nonfiction text that we are going to be reading. I'm only picking out 3 keywords for you today, and I'm going to be showing you words as we go along. So the key words here are the place that the story is from, takes place in is Colombia in South America. You need to know this word biblio, which is derived from a Spanish word. Biblioteca means library in Spanish. The word biblio means book. A famous book that some people are very familiar with is the Bible, which sounds similar to biblio. And another word you need to know is burro. Burro is like a small donkey. Sometimes we use the word burro in English, but it is translated as donkey from the Spanish word. The title once again is Alpha and Beta, the Biblioburros. And Alpha and Beta are the names of the 2 burros that deliver these books. Here's our table of contents. Okay, I'm going to get started, and you'll notice I have some words that I posted on my book. I'll take them off, but I do want to describe those words as we go along. Life in Colombia. Two little burros walk carefully along a muddy trail in Colombia, South America. Heavy packs bounce on their backs. The burros are carrying a treasure to children in a small village. The treasure isn't money, and it isn't toys. It's books. And the sidebar, burro is the Spanish word for donkey. Most people in Colombia speak Spanish. The burro's destination is far from any city. It is in an area of hills and valleys. Rugged dirt roads lead from one small village to the next. The people in this part of Colombia are very poor. Most of them are farmers. Many of them never learned how to read or write. A word that you need to know on this page is the word destination, and that means a place. The word treasure we talked about in our other story just means something valuable to someone. Only some children in Colombia go to school. Many children don't have a school to go to. Others go to school, but it is hard for them to study. Many parents can't read, so they can't help children with their homework. Families may not have money for books, and libraries are too far away to visit. Luis Soriano shares his love of reading with children in a village in Colombia. One teacher and one idea. Luis Soriano decided to help these children. Luis is a teacher who loves to read. He wanted the children to discover the joy of reading too, but first the children needed books. Luis wondered, if children can't go to a library, why not bring a library to them? Luis had 70 books. He also had 2 burros that needed something to do. The burros could be the library. Biblio means book, so Luis named his library Biblioburro. Luis's moving library is called Biblioburro. Twice a week, Luis chooses books to take to children in villages. He loads the packs on his 2 burros, Alpha and Beta. The names Alpha and Beta come from the word alphabet. A lot of kids like to notice that when they find a picture that's the same as the cover, they like to point that out. Together, Luis and the burros travel for many hours. The roads are rough and rocky. The trip can be dangerous, too. On one trip, Luis fell off his burro and broke his leg. Another time, people on the road tried to rob him. But Luis wouldn't quit. He believes it's important to bring books to children. Village children are happy to see Biblioburro. A visit from Biblioburro. Louis, Alpha, and Beto visit 15 villages. They can't visit all the villages in one trip. Louis may visit 2 villages on each trip. When Biblioburro arrives in a village, the children rush to greet it. They can't wait to see the books that Louis has brought. This helps me make a connection because when I was dropping off books to kids on Friday, it was so cute to see them. I dropped them outside of the doorway, and I walked away, so we were responsible and we respected social distancing. And it was so cute because they grabbed their book bags and they were so excited to look at the books that I had dropped off. So I understand why they rush to see the books that Louis brought. It's exciting. First, Louis reads or tells stories. The stories are about people, places, and ideas. The stories help the kids learn about the world beyond their village. Then Louis opens his packs. He displays the books for the children to see. Some of his books are about real people and places. Some are funny stories. Others are tales of wild adventure. Biblioburro has all kinds of books. The kids get excited as they look through the books. Each kid chooses one. Louis reads stories to the children before they choose their books. The kids can take their books home. Louis trusts the children to bring the books back the next time he visits. He only has 2 rules. These are in bold. Remember, those are very important words. 1, wash your hands before reading a book. That way the book will not get dirty. 2, don't write on the pages. Children love to choose their books. After Louis hands out books, he helps the kids with their homework. He helps the adults learn to read too. Louis wants all of them to be good readers and thinkers. He believes this will make their lives better. Biblioburro grows. Many people who hear about Louis want to help him. Once an announcer talked about Louis and Biblioburro on the radio. After that, lots of people sent books and money to Louis. Louis used the money to buy even more books. He also built a free library next to his home. Children who live nearby can come to the library. Louis, Alpha, and Beto still bring books to children far away. Louis now has thousands of books to share. Last page. From books to big dreams. Louis believes that books are truly a treasure. Reading books helps people learn about distant places. It introduces them to all kinds of people. It helps them discover new ideas. Louis also believes in the power of reading. Reading can help every child grow up to be a good citizen and a useful person, he said. Louis, Alpha, and Beto carry books, but they also carry more. They carry dreams for the children's futures. Biblioburro brings the joy of reading to the children of Colombia. On the very back, I do want to just give you a reading of what the description on the back of the book. It says, "Got books? What if you had no books to read? Or had no one to teach you how to read? This is true for many children in the small villages of Colombia in South America. But one man figured out a way to deliver a great treasure." So it's not a mistake that I'm using that word treasure again. And we talked about it being something that's valuable to people. And I think that us in this distance learning situation, I think we're all learning that books and learning is really important. And we're working on all of these challenges and we're getting there. So thank you so much. If you are a kinder or a first grade student and you want to retell this story to someone or draw a picture, write a sentence or two about what you learned, that would be very appropriate. If you're a second or a third grader and you have a reading log to do, you could use this book for your reading log. You could write a paragraph summary. If you are a fourth or fifth grader, you could probably stretch it out into a longer summary for your reading log. And for one final thing I will do for you today is just give you a quick peek at the table of contents, because like I told you before, if you are going to do a main idea detail summary, a lot of times you can use the table of contents to get the author's main ideas. So thanks for hearing the story about Alpha and Beta, the Biblioburros. I hope you guys have a good day. I will be recording again tomorrow, so hopefully I'll see you then. Bye, guys.